Welcome to the Behind the Art Inspiration podcast. In these special edition episodes of Creative Life Interviews, I'll meet with co-authors of the book, The Creative Lifebook, and discuss their creative life hacks. We will also touch on how the book has become a springboard for magic. In this episode, I connect with speaker and intuitive guide Joe Davis, the author of Chapter 51, The Creative Badass. I'm your host, Caroline Karp, filming from my Clearwater, Florida studio. Let's get to it. The Creative Lifebook is full of reflections on the art of living a fully expressed life and is written by Jessica Hughes along with 65 thought leaders, wellness experts, artists, and creatives. And the foreword is written by Joe Vitale. So, thank you so much for joining me all the way from Mexico. Joe's in Mexico right now, living her best life. And
learning Spanish.
I was doing a little research before our podcast and went into her link, because if you open the book, if she's, chapter 51, The Creative Badass, and you read her life hack and you go and it takes you to a link called Lift a Sister Up. So I want to start there, and I want to hear about what is that all about, and then we'll get back to your life hack.
Oh, that's a good question. So Lift a Sister Up is one of the things I'm the most proud of, because it's such a real, raw, gritty, authentic space for women to feel supported and seen and encouraged and valued. And it's an inclusive space. It's a no judgment zone. And for me, it came about after losing a great six-figure job and having all these friends I worked with that I thought were my friends. And when I got let go, they literally disappeared like a magic show. Like, poof, they were just gone. And I was devastated. I was so heartbroken. And I was like, I didn't understand it, because these were women that I really felt like I had poured into and I had loved and I'd given to. And one gal was in a domestic violence situation and I helped her, and like people that I showed up for. And I thought, that's what you did, is you fill other people's cups and then it all comes back to you. But in my brain, I missed a couple points that were important energetically. Number one, rarely the cup that you fill will be returned from the person whose cup you filled. It'll usually come from somewhere over here. It's unusual to pay for someone's Starbucks bill and then come the next day and the person in front of you pay for yours. And it's the same person you paid to. It just doesn't work that way. The second thing I figured out was that, if you're not attracting the right people into your life, it's you, not the other people, which is a no-brainer for every life coach on the planet. But my story goes a little bit deeper. I was pouring into other people and loving other people and showing up for other people to prove my goodness, to prove my worthiness, to be valuable in that group. So I always got reinvited. So, I had a client a couple of years ago who's such a giver and so generous, and just everyone loved her, but she was always getting taken advantage of. She was always getting, run over. She was always attracting bad stuff. And I was working with her, and this is after learning all these lessons. So this will all come together. I was working with her in our second session, the very session I said, you're an asshole, right? And she was mortified. I just felt like I had to shake her tree branches. She was mortified. I would give anything to anyone, and I'm so generous. And she's telling me all these things. I was like, yeah, but you're an asshole to yourself, because you don't give yourself everything you freely give other people. You don't give yourself grace. You have that mind trash where you're always beating yourself up in your head. You say awful things to yourself at night when you put your head on the pillow, and you would never say those things to other people. So you're kind of a jerk. And when you agree to help other people by self-sacrificing your sleep, your health, your energy, your frequency, when you're shifting down to those people's level to show up for them, you're paying a price. So you're kind of a jerk. And I said, so the next time someone asks for something from you and they can I have this shirt off your back? Can you help me pay my rent this month? Blah, blah, blah. Be like, no, I'm sorry, because I can't be an asshole to myself. So after losing this great big six-figure job, I figured out, wow, I was showing up for all these people. Like if I showed up enough, I'd get into the pearly gates of heaven, which isn't how it works. I was showing up for all these people to get invited again because I was just lucky to get invited. And I wasn't like madly in love with myself. I wasn't rolling around in glitter and confetti and celebrating all the beautiful hot mess parts of me. I was showing up like, I'm here. I'm just lucky to be here. And that's not what our soul craves. Our soul is like perfect. And we show up on this planet as a gift just in our breath. We don't even have to write a best-selling book. We're valuable just because we're here in our breath. And so that was a big shift for me. And so I looked around, I was alone in my house. I was a couple months from, like living in a van down by the river and no job. And I was lonely and I was like, you know what? I get it. Okay. I get it. I have to be that woman for myself first. And then the universe will send me all these amazing people. And that's what happened. It was a little lonely. It was a little bit of a lull, but Lift a Sister Up came out of it. And I said, well, I'm going to serve others and show up for others and not expect anything in return. I don't care if they think I'm weird. I don't care if they judge me. I don't care if they misunderstand me. I mean, it was awful. I'm like, oh, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it freely and I'm going to commit time to it and I'm going to grow my soul and I'm going to get out of my own way. And I'm going to be supportive and encouraging of other women. And so it's just a beautiful space for women to encourage each other in business, in their personal and spiritual growth. And it attracts a lot of incredible people, from Grammy Award-winning artists to best-selling authors to public speakers, world-renowned thought leaders. But it's interesting to me because every one of them has the same struggles. Every one of them has pain, doesn't look any different. And, when you're up high, the fall is a bit bigger. And when you don't get invited to something, it's a little more heart crushing, because it's a bigger thing. And so they have all the same fears and worries that the rest of us do. They're just like we are. So I love that. So it's just a safe space for women.
And so
Yeah.
in the book, you talk about your creative life hack. So tell us a little bit about that.
I
You
think
might have already done a lot of that now that I'm looking at it.
No, I mean, the short version is having courage to look crazy, having courage to look weird, having courage to show up and love other people and not care who's watching and not care if they appreciate you and not care and just do it because it brings you joy and getting comfortable with maybe being misunderstood, but being in that playful, silly space until you're not worried about who's looking. You don't care. My friend, I was in Texas last week. I was speaking at a conference in DFW, and my friend and I, we went to Old Navy, and there's like not an Old Navy here in this little town in San Miguel. I was like, Old Navy. And we're leaving, and we see this woman walking with her 4 or 5-year-old son and beautiful goddess hair and this beautiful shirt. And I was like, that shirt is fabulous. She looks like a queen. And my friend Michelle, because she gets me, she goes, we should tell her. So we drove. I said, well, let's drive over like one aisle over so we don't freak her out, because this is not the day and the times where you yell crazy stuff at people. They might die for cover. And so we rolled down the window and we were like, you're beautiful. We love your shirt. You look like a queen. And then we just drove off and we giggled and it felt good and it was fun, and we'll never see her again. But she's never going to remember the crazy ladies that were yelling beautiful things out of a window at her. But that's similar to that hack, that creative hack of just being authentically kind and silly.
And I also know that you are an artist as well. Tell us a little bit about what lights you up with your art.
I haven't tapped into the art part as much. I feel like I've been working on this other creative experience in this new culture, learning about the culture, learning about the clothing, learning about the art, learning about the music in this new town. But I think the thing that lights me up about it the most is, like most people that are in their art space, like when we're a little kid, we color, or we play Legos, or we do something. Remember when you were a kid and you were like, you'd be lost for hours in something?
I teach 4 and 5-year-olds, so
Girl, you get it.
every day.
But that passion and that getting lost in that creative space, we forget as adults. And so for me, when I was doing art photography, and I don't even know what all the buttons on my camera do, and it's been a blessing, right? So I take a picture and then I move it over and I edit it to look like how I see it, because I see the world very bright and colorful and just different. And so I create the image in that part of the world wherever I'm traveling to look like how I see it, so other people can see how I see the world,
Mm.
because we all see it differently. And the thing I love is it's just like when you're a kid, and you know this from painting, you get in it and hours go by and you feel light and your chest feels open and you're playful and you're not being hard on yourself and you're just being silly and having fun. And I think it's such a healing space. And that's why in cancer recovery centers and different treatment programs, they have art, because it taps into something up here. And then you can step out of your own way and tap into that kid that didn't care what people thought.
Exactly. Yeah. You talked about showing the world the way that you see it. That's what I do in my art. Like, I swear I see colors differently than other people.
Me too.
And
And
it must be,
beautiful people. Like I see people and I'm like, my God, they're beautiful. And someone else might not think they're beautiful. And I'll tell them, you're so beautiful. But someone else might like not think that. But I see this differently.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a fun way of seeing, and it's how I kind of came up with the tagline of romanticize your life, right? I love it. But
I
it's
love it.
like I call myself a romantic expressionist painter
I feel that.
because that's what I'm doing. It's the same thing you're doing with your photography that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. You got me. Yeah. That's like romantic. I mean, because it's like shifting to another frequency of gratitude, because you're like, whoa, you're like squeezing the juice, it's just different.
Mhm.
That's a
And
great
so,
tagline for everything.
well, what's funny is it's that I'm chapter 57. This is not supposed to be about me, but it's just that's what we're talking about. It's romanticize your life, the art of expressive living. So that's what I'm writing about.
I love it.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. And
And
to me,
we're
when you
all connected.
all connected, and when you say it to me, I hear the word gratitude, because it's about seeing it as it is. And it's so beautiful. It's a romantic thing. It's
Yeah.
this like, I mean, we can be passionate when we're picking beans on a farm.
Right.
We can feel exhilarated when we're sitting in the grass. I mean, there's something in that. There's some meat to that. I love that.
Yeah. And it all is tied together with yelling something out the window at somebody because
Because you
it will
can.
feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it might have changed her life. She might be on the struggle bus. Who's not, right? She might be a hot mess express and someone did that. Some other woman like saw them and
Hmm.
called it out and gave it a name and gifted it. And
Yeah.
people don't do that because they're like, I might look crazy. And I'm like, man, if you had 5 years left to live on this planet, you better shine that light so bright other people put their hater shades on and just
Mhm.
stay out of your way, because life is so short.
Well, it's been really awesome about having this book, which now, I mean, I'm reading each chapter like before I meet with somebody.
Mhm.
And as I start talking, I'm building a thread and I'm seeing everything that's common. I mean, everything that's connected with everybody. Like, there is a thread that we're all actually, it's very similar. And so we're all connected and we're all here to change the world, right?
Yeah. Or
By
why are we
shining
here?
our
What's
light.
the point?
Right.
Mhm.
So that's what's been really fun about getting to meet with everybody
I
uh,
love it.
in this venue. So is there, I'm putting the lift the sister in the my show notes. Is there anything else? Where else can they find you? Is there anything else you wanted to say?
I think Facebook or Instagram, Lift a Sister Up, is probably the fastest way to find me. But when you find me on Facebook, there's a couple different ones. Mine's the biggest page. Mine has 156,000 followers. So when you type in Lift a Sister Up, scroll all the way to the bottom. Yeah, I have a crazy magical life. That's a other story. But
Oh, I
when you
need to know.
scroll all the way to the bottom, it's like pink and black and little girly, which I'm totally not. Like everything I own is black. But I'm
Tell
working
me
on it.
about that magical life. That sounds kind of fun. What are you talking about?
It's all about collaboration and supporting other people. And when you
Okay.
collaborate and support other people, it amplifies your message.
Hmm.
And a lot of people hoard their gifts and their talents, and they kind of they want to keep it tight. And that didn't work for me. And as much as I want to be a hermit, an introvert, full blown on a desert island, that's not what the universe has planned for me.
Mm,
So yeah, just showing up and shining a light on other people and celebrating them has just, it's grown my business, it's grown my following, it's grown the incredible opportunities that have been presented to me. Every day something crazy happens, and I go, and I just sit in gratitude and try not to break it or mess
mhm.
it up. I'm like, okay, thank you. But that page really grew out of supporting other people.
Awesome. Well, I'm hope everybody checks it out. I'm certainly going to go dive into it when we're done. But thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening as I share my love of fun, connection, collaboration, and art. It would be great if you subscribe by clicking the button. Being a facilitator of conversation, I pose an open ended question. This time, all I have to do is take out my book in my Caroline style, and then I just let the conversation flow from there. But I see everybody later. Until the next time, bye.